Hey everybody, welcome to your favorite stock picking show, my favorite stock picking show, everybody's favorite stock picking show, the Wealth Advisory's top 10 stocks to buy. We're on to the month of December. As you can see, we decided to stick with the little tradition we started last month with our Halloween costumes and go with some Christmas sweaters. I hope you guys like them. I think Jason kind of outdid me here today.
Dinosaurs.
Yeah, he definitely beat me. He's got the three kings of reptiles there. I like that. That's a good twist on an old story. Yeah, so we're here. We're excited for the holiday season. We just got back from a nice little break over Thanksgiving, spending some time with our friends and our families. We hope all you got to do the same as well and are feeling just as rested and ready to tackle the end of the year as we are. Markets had a great month in November. That was pretty impressive. I mean, October was great. And, everybody was kind of thinking, myself honestly included, that, either we were going to see a little bit of a pullback, which we kind of started to see, but it didn't really last or materialize, or that we were just going to sort of trade flat, but we didn't. We were up. The NASDAQ was up 11%. I think as we're recording, 11%. We've got the S&P was up 8%. Our average gain was right around in there. We didn't quite beat the markets this month, but we had some good ones. Our energy stocks performed really well. Viper gave us almost a 10% gain. My wild ball from last month was looking really good, as Jason pointed out this morning, until it wasn't. We were up, 10% or so there on Chewy in the first couple of weeks, and then sentiment turned on that one, and we're going to close that out down. But still, both of us really like that company in the long run. People love their pets. We were just talking about how much we love ours, and, you're going to feed your pet. You're going to take care of your pet. I've got scheduled orders on Chewy myself for my dog, so I don't forget to get him food. He would be pretty upset about that, I think. And I don't want him to eat me. He's kind of a big dog. But anyway, we still love that one. It didn't work out for us. We didn't quite beat the markets last month, but we're back again, and I think we can do it. I personally, now that we've seen this great performance for 2 months in a row, we're coming into December. Obviously we're coming into December because we're filming the December top 10 and we're wearing Christmas sweaters. But we're coming into the end of the year, and typically we see a rally into the end of the year, and I think we're going to see that again this year. So I think we're going to have a good close to the end of the year. We're going to have a lot of great stuff coming for the Wealth Advisory subscribers, too, in the next couple of weeks. We've got top 10 lists coming out for the full year, lots of commentary on our performance over the past year and what to expect going forward, so definitely keep an eye out for that. And if you're not a member, if you're watching this on YouTube, I highly recommend you join us. You're going to get so much value. Not only do you get all 10 of the top 10 stocks, but you also get monthly issues, feature recommendations, all the reports we've ever written, access to all the analysis that we've ever put out. It's really, really worth it. So I highly recommend you join us. If you don't want to, I totally understand. It's an expensive month. It's Christmas. Maybe you don't have a little extra cash this month to sign up. That's okay. We'll keep putting these lists out and giving you the first 4 picks for as long as you want to watch. All we ask is that you subscribe to the channel, give us a thumbs up, and hit the bell to make sure that you get notified when we post new stuff. So, with that all being said, shall we get it started?
Let's do it. Let's kick it off.
Let's kick it off here with my first pick, my number 5, our number 10, and it's Bank of America. Ticker symbol is BAC. When I was at Morgan Stanley, there was a guy that used to always call me and be like, Jason, let me get some of those backies. Give me them backies. So every time I say Bank of America, I can't help but think of him. But anyway, here at TWA, we've got a tradition of letting our winners run and cutting our losers off. So obviously, I'm not going to be picking Chewy again this month. But last month, believe it or not, Bank of America was one of the top performers for us and for kind of the whole market. There have been some pretty huge moves in smaller cap stocks, but as far as big cap stocks go, it's up around 16% since the start of November. And like I said, I think we're going to see a Santa Claus rally coming in. So it's bound to keep running up the charts, Markets are also starting to bet on rate cuts. Rate cuts are great for banks. Rate increases are great for banks too, because they get to charge us more money on our loans and stuff like that. So really, any kind of rate activity is going to be good for Bank of America. It's a strong bank. It's it's constantly passing the Fed stress test, no matter how tough they make them. It likes to reward shareholders with buyback programs and by raising its dividend. And I think it's going to raise its dividend relatively soon also. We should probably see another one of those next year. So yeah, I'm putting it in as my number 5, our number 10 pick, Bank of America. Let's see if it can have another great month and run up the charts some more. And With that, I'm going to ask you to clear off my ticker since it's over on that side. There we go. And I'll pass the buck
All right.
to Jason.
Yeah, so here's a company we've talked about a few times, formerly Raytheon, now RTX.
Love it.
In the past, I've kind of talked about the problem they had with the Pratt and Whitney engines and how that kind of deflated the stock price, and that is a temporary setback, which gives them more potential than most other defense contractors right now. A lot of them are bet up, and like pretty much any defense contractor, I'm going to tell you, is a good buy. But the reality is they're going to move slowly. These aren't stocks that tend to skyrocket when we talk about, especially kind of the big five. Raytheon RTX has a chance to really recover kind of almost about, like I would say, 20% gain over the next year or so. And in the short term, what I want to talk about is the Iron Dome, which is the most widely used missile defense system in the entire planet. It's what guards Israel. And I think it's pretty clear, why that's in place and how effective it's been. It actually has over a 90% success rate when it comes to intercepting incoming missiles, rockets, mortars, pretty much anything like that. They make that with an Israeli company called Rafael, and they don't make any duplicates. But obviously, a lot of other countries in the world are very interested in that technology. If you've watched anything about the war in Ukraine and the constant missile attacks, right now there's a big problem over there as we head into the winter because Russia's going to be targeting their power plants to try to knock their electricity out in the dead of winter and freeze them out and literally freeze people to death. So there's a big demand for missile shields. So they don't do the Iron Dome per se, but they do have another product called the Sky Hunter, and they are just announced a new manufacturing facility that they're building with Rafael in Arkansas to produce the Tamir missiles that go in the Iron Dome defense, as well as Sky Hunter missiles. They've committed $33 million to it. And what that shows you is a couple things. One, the demand is there. You don't go out and spend $33 million to build another factory if the demand isn't there, which it is. Secondly, it shows you that defense contractors are now confident enough in the long-term demand to make these investments. Ever since the Cold War, effectively, a lot of our defense manufacturing shrank because we did not need the same level of defense preparedness that we did when we were fighting the Soviet Union. So things kind of contracted. There was a little bit of complacency. Russia was not as formidable in 2005 as it is today. Now things have kind of swung back, and there's been a lot of reinvestment from the U.S. government, from governments around the world, where these companies are now confident enough in future orders that they can go and make these investments. So as well as having the immediate demand for these products, you're also looking at a future all the way out into 2030 and beyond, where the demand for these things is going to go up and is in place for a company like RTX to exploit. So that's why it's once again here in my top 10. It's number 9 for RTX.
I like it. It's a great stock. It's done really great for our investors. I can't imagine it doing anything else,
and it's all the traditional kind of stuff. Pays a dividend, all the things you would expect from a defense contractor. A high floor.
Yep. No, and you're very right about that potential for capital appreciation there, where these are huge companies. You think about it. I'm not going to use one of the defense contractors as an example, but Microsoft in one day the other day added like $70 billion to its valuation. The share price moved less than 2%.
Right.
So it's hard to move a company that's that big, you know what I mean? But with this one, because you've got it, it had that sell-off, you've got, a lot of ground to gain before it starts running into that resistance.
Yeah, it's a good buying opportunity. Yep. I think it's still down around $80 per share, and, again, you're going to see next year it'll be back up over $90, $100. So it could be a nice gain over the next 12 months.
Definitely. I like it, and that brings me to my number 4 pick, our number 8 overall, which is another runner from November, Silvercorp Metals. Ticker symbol is SVM. Silvercorp Metals. And so Silvercorp surged around, what do we got here, 15% last month on the back of it had strong earnings. There's a very strong market for precious metals like silver and gold out there. And news hit that a potentially dilutive deal that they were getting into had basically been thwarted by another investor in the target company. So Silvercorp was going to acquire an Australian gold company called OreCorp. right? And OreCorp has some mines that they're hoping to get into production in the next couple of years. And it would have created a much more diversified asset base for Silvercorp Metals, but it would have been a really just incredibly dilutive deal in the amount of stock that they would have had to give out and the amount of money that they would have had to throw in with it in order to do that acquisition. But one of the other large investors in OreCorp has basically, raised their stake in the company to higher than Silvercorp's is. So that effectively blocks that acquisition, which honestly it probably frustrated Silvercorp's management, but it's good news for us as investors. And I think that that news is going to continue to stimulate the stock. I think that we're going to continue to have a strong market for precious metals like silver and gold. And I think that earnings beat can also continue to help the stock drift higher. So after a 15% run last month, I really think that we can run up. I like that Silvercorp is now refocused on its expertise right as silver prices are on sort of the verge of an extended rally. And I think it's a great buy for everybody, short term and long term. So there's my number 4, our number 8 overall.
Yeah, I like silver too. I think that's going to do great.
I really think it is. There's a ratio out there, the silver to gold ratio,
Sure.
and it's basically how many ounces of gold how many ounces of silver does it take to buy an ounce of gold, and it spreads and compresses and spreads and compresses, and it's getting out there right now where you can buy a lot of ounces of silver with 1 ounce of gold, and usually when that compresses, that means that silver prices are going to go
Right.
up relative to gold. So if gold's going to move, and it's sort of like a dance, right? Where
Yes.
like gold leads and silver follows, but silver's moves are much more outsized than
It
gold's.
begins point for a precious metal investor where it becomes more economical to buy the silver rather than the gold, and then that's why you start to see that.
And you see people selling their gold
And they go
to switch
scoop
it
up
into
the
silver.
silver.
Yep, and that in turn, helps lower the price of gold, helps raise the price of silver. So, I think that's going to start happening in the near future. And even without, we are in a strong market for precious metals. So, I think it's a great stock for everybody. And that brings me to your number 4.
Yeah, here we have COPT Defense Properties. This is a rate. CDP is the ticker on.
All right, this is one of our
that
newest
one.
REITs.
Yeah, I think one of the things that you did a really good job of predicting was kind of the bottom of this real estate, commercial real estate market. The rates had been kind of beat up with respect to that, and now we saw a really strong rebound this past month.
Yeah.
COP Defense is up 6% over the past month, and that's good, especially for a company that yields 4.76% as a payout. These companies are all high yielders. What I like about COPT Defense is that it basically leases office property to defense contractors and to government agencies, specifically again defense and the GSA, which handles the government leasing. So its clients include General Dynamics, Boeing, Northrop Grumman, Booz Allen Hamilton. Those are some of its biggest clients. And what I like about that real estate in particular is that when you work in the defense industry, working from home, working remotely can become kind of a security concern. There's certain kind of work that can only be done in the office, can only be done in something like a SCIF in a secure facility where, access to information can be controlled tightly and products can be controlled tightly. So to have a company like this that leases office space out to these companies and agencies that really do require facilities and people to be in the building, I think they're probably better positioned than most commercial real estate companies. But
Definitely, because those are going to be sort of purpose-built buildings too. It's not like this is just a regular office building that Boeing or Lockheed wants to operate out of.
Right, yeah, they're very specific, they're very niche. But like I said, the company, we're seeing a bit of a resurgence for rates now. You get the high yield. We're starting to see some kind of capital gains come into the mix. I like this one. Like I said, we just added it to the portfolio in, I want to say September maybe.
I believe you're right.
So there we go. COPT Defense is my number 7 stock.
That's a great one. And we talk about, you talk about the customers, and there's basically two things. There's two customer groups, right, that'll make sure that a company succeeds. Either you have billions of customers, with small budgets, or you have a handful of customers with billion-dollar budgets,
Yeah,
and that's
deep
exactly
pockets.
what COPT has. So it's great, and thank you for commenting on my my
Called it.
bullishness on the real estate
Yeah,
sector.
you got it.
I mean, these things have just been getting beat up. It's one of those cases where they say like the baby gets thrown out with the bathwater
Right.
type thing. Where people were just dumping real estate. High rates are bad for real estate, and they're not great for real estate. Let's be honest. Like these guys have to borrow money to make money, so the tighter the spread in between the rate that they receive and the rate that they pay, the less money they make. So that makes sense. But the thing is all of their assets are still just as valuable as they were, back in 2021. They're still bringing in that rental revenue. They're still paying these dividends. And what's amazing about it is that you've got these companies that usually are yielding, 1, 2, 3%, and you're able to lock in 5%, 7%, 10% right now. And this is the thing is, when the stock price goes up, that dividend yield on the price is going to go down, but your 10% stays there forever.
Right.
One of the stocks that I'm going to talk about later, we got into it right as it started growing its dividend. And right now, those original shares, we're making something like 23 or 24% a year just in dividends. The stock doesn't have to move, and we're up 25%. And that's the power of locking in these high dividend yields. And so that's why we've been just pounding the table, lock them in now. This market is going to recover, and it's definitely already starting. So that's our first. That's our first four. A little bit more commentary than we usually have in the first four, so I hope you guys enjoyed that and appreciate it. And now let's do a little bit of a wrap-up, a recap here of our first four, and then we're going to cut things off for the folks on YouTube. Like I always say, we would love to have you join us. You'll get access to not only the rest of the top 10, but also just a boatload of more valuable information out there, all the reports that we've ever done, analysis, access to our model portfolio. We've got probably about 40 companies close to that we're tracking in there right now. So lots of great investment advice, lots of value there. So if you'd like to join us, we'll put a link in the description below the video. Click it, you'll get a discounted offer, our little Christmas present or Hanukkah present, Kwanzaa present, holiday present to everybody. We would love to have you join us. If you don't want to, we understand it's an expensive month, like I said. You can grab it next month, and we'll continue to put these out for you. But with that all being said, let's do a recap, and then we'll let you get back to your day. Coming up first, my first pick, Bank of America. It was a runner last month. I think it's going to continue to run this month with the Santa Claus rally that we're expecting into the close of the year, up about 15, 16% in November. I think it can give us another 5 or 10% in October, too.
Yeah, RTX, a major partner in Israel's Iron Dome, which is seeing a lot of work. Again, a 90% success rate. Things aren't going to quiet down over there. I mean, I know we've been in kind of a lull with a bit of a truce here, which is, great, humanitarian-wise. 7 days. But if you think it's going to last, I assure you it won't. That whole area is going to continue to be a problem. And, part and parcel to that, a big thing, and again, we kind of saw it in Ukraine, when people see these products in action, when other countries see these products in action, they tend to want them. And that's why RTX and Raphael are working on, another on the Sky Hunter, and they're going to export that, and that's going to be a major thing for them. And they're all going to need missiles, okay? And there's only so many to go around, and the need is just going to keep going up and up and up for ammunition for all of these things. So short-term, long-term, RTX Corp.
I like it. My number 4, or number 8, silver court metals. Like I said, precious metals are definitely seeing some action recently, and I think they're on the verge of a huge rally, an extended rally, especially silver. Pricing for it relative to gold is getting sort of stretched out. And the company has just been executing really, really well. And with this deal sort of falling through, like I said, I like that lets them refocus on their core expertise, and I think that's going to continue to be really good for the stock. So Silver Corp.
Yeah, and then COPT, or COP Defense Properties. Strong client base, reliable client base, defense contractors, and the U.S. government. Up 6%, still yields nearly 5%. And then, like I said, we're seeing this rate resurgence. I like what we're seeing out of that industry, and specifically out of COPT.
All right, there you have it, guys. Those are our top 4. Now, for those of you watching on YouTube, we bid you adieu. We hope you enjoyed everything. We hope you join us as members. If you don't, as always, we'll continue to put these out for as long as you want to watch them. We just ask that you give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hey, drop us a comment too if you feel like it. But definitely hit that bell to make sure you get notified of when we put out more stuff. And we'll see you next month. Happy holidays and Happy New Year in advance.